Conversation Dudes channel.
Yeah, it is. We all talk like this all the time.
All the time.
Nice, soothing, monotone voices.
Very.
I like how you muted yourself and now we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Whoa! You're too loud now. We have to talk like this.
We get to talk really close to our mics, so that way it sounds really amazing.
Just like this. That's
just like this. We always do it all the conversation.
Hello and welcome to the Villain Talk Show and Podcast. I am one of your hosts, C4, with a little name thing now. It's like right here. I actually see my name, so people aren't asking who the fuck we are. And I'm one of your hosts, also with, as you can see, Insanieac, the great Grease Goblin.
You're pointing it the wrong way.
Yeah, thank you. And out in the nether, it's the elusive gentleman. Usually we have Sara Vike here, but Sara couldn't be with us today. She might pop in later, which then would ruin everything. So I'd have to.
I do want to call attention to your name cards. How they seem very much like first year design.
Shut up! Just shut up! Just shut up!
It's an outline circle around.
No. I can mute you right now. I can mute you right now, and no one will ever hear you again.
I'm not really worried about that. That's okay.
Here we talk about random talk show stuff, and Sundays we do two shots. And
I just want to point out the names for people
on Wednesdays we do.
I can't see how awful C4 made our names.
Live podcasts on Wednesdays. If you're listening on podcasts, they come out every Tuesday and Thursday. Anywhere you get podcasts. And tonight we have a special after the actual talk show. We're starting the elusive Tavern Tales that I'm going to start actually putting up on YouTube because I'm really, really bad with the YouTubes. I'm so bad with YouTube. It's just
YouTube's is tough, honestly. It's a lot to do.
Man, I'm technically bad as it is, and you guys have made me do like almost everything technical on this goddamn podcast, and I am surprised I got this far. Like every time
so you can learn.
The audio cuts out, I'm like, oh fuck, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm impressed you figured it out.
Yeah, we were making it so you could learn things.
Yeah. I mean, I got my whole setup good. You know, I got a microphone. I got a green screen. I'm prepared. Is
that where you film your money?
I haven't filmed anything yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was thinking I might do my cooking videos. I'm hoping to do there.
Oh, is that what you call them? Is that what they're called? They're called cooking videos, eh?
On it, and I can put like pot on
some tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
I said a pot. I don't know how many salads you make in a pot, but I think you need to go back to cooking school.
Anyway, today's topic, if you were in last week, we're doing a 3-part topic special. Every week we're doing another.
Eventually,
every week we're doing another horror trope / topic. Last week was comedy and horror, so if you want to watch that, you can go back on the podcast. It'll be out on Tuesday, or you can just go back in the Twitch.
How's it much different than what we're doing today? I'm going to be honest.
Shitty slasher films?
I feel like that's
a great way to start. You know, what a great
slasher film.
What is the difference between a comedy and a slasher film? You know, well, it's funny you say that because a slasher film is meant to be a slasher film is it's meant to be gore. It's meant to just be, if you think about it, the first ever slasher film was, the one where the teens go out at midnight, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the original.
Texas Chainsaw. Yeah,
but like, and then you have films like Scream that are a slasher film that's meant to be
it's a little more.
It was like
slasher.
It was
Texas
also
is very slasher.
The first one was really good.
But like,
yeah.
It comes down to what's the difference between Nightmare on Elm Street and Jason. Jason is a slasher film. Nightmare on Elm Street is a thriller. And
I mean, Jason. Well, as I would argue that as Freddy movies go on, they become more slasher films because they honestly, if you've watched all of the Freddy films, they get intensely gorier after the first and second ones. So
but it's still a psychological thriller. It doesn't start.
It is.
It doesn't.
I'm not disagreeing.
Jason doesn't stalk in the shadows. He shows up and walks towards them and just stabs them.
But when Freddy literally pulls your tendons from your legs and makes you walk around like a puppet to make you jump off of a roof, or he literally pulls your
but then you wake up and you're fine.
No, you're dead.
No,
That's
no,
the
you're
point,
dead.
you die.
He gets
Die.
more.
Yeah.
He gets more powerful. Like he does that. No, I mean like maybe
No,
in
you
that.
die.
No, because if you watch the films, it's always
I know
starts
all
with
the
him
films.
killing them or like trying to kill them, and he's like, I'm not powerful enough, and they wake up. But like he does
That's
crazy
'cause he's-
stuff like that.
It's there's
all
that level because his whole power is based on memory.
Jason doesn't
The
need
more
that.
people-
It's just he just shows up and
Well,
stab, stab, stab.
Yeah, that's because
It's a slasher.
Yeah.
It's not a thriller.
Uh,
It's not meant to build tension or make you wait for the actual payoff. The payoff happens
No, you're
every
right.
time.
I'm just saying that there are as
There's
the
films
later
make
the
with
later
your green
sequels in
screen.
Freddy become that. Well, the first like probably two Freddy movies were more psychological thriller, whereas some of the later ones were a little more slow. I'm saying they weren't like both. I'm adding to
mean-
it. That's all. In the way because I watched all of them in the way of the
So
the
have
progress of the movie.
I disagree because even like the ones that go crazy, it's still like, oh, he eat
Well, that's the
children,
whole thing,
and,
anyways.
and
you know,
like, it was
but
never.
it's the slasher is the gore factor. It's how much how much
No, the
bodily
slasher is literally because the slasher doesn't have to be. I use
You said it
Jason,
was
but
gore
you don't.
factor. That's what I'm going off of.
The Jason. No, I meant slasher is more the reality factor, I guess. Because Jason, if you take out the idea, like go back to the original Friday the 13th, it has nothing to do with Jason. It has all to do with his mom.
Yeah,
Just a real person that just goes around and stabbing people. And
yeah, a
like-
woman who went crazy after losing
Exactly.
her son, right?
And same with like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the newer one. It's just about a guy who walks around with a fucking chainsaw.
Actually, yeah,
Dude, right?
it's-
comparable would be the difference would be like Psycho and Jason.
Those
Because Psycho
Yeah.
Is a thriller.
psychological thriller. Yeah,
and
that
it
was a
is a thriller.
psychological
See,
thriller.
yeah,
that was a psychological
but
thriller.
that one you build
That
the
makes
tension
sense.
because you're trying to find out what's going on. You're trying to figure out who the murderer is, and like you don't even he even figures it out. Like if you watch the movie, the detective, I forget, it's been so long, thinks that it's actually the mother that is the killer until he goes down to the basement and finds out that she's dead, and it's Norman Bates dressed up as a woman. Like that whole psychological thrill, like that is a psychological thriller because you don't have people just die randomly throughout it, where American Psycho is a slasher because you know from the very beginning that he's going to go, yeah, he's just going to go murder people. Like,
I never watched it.
I mean, spoiler, no.
It was before my time.
but you've
But
seen
I mean,
that.
so were a lot of other ones. But that was one that never. I was more interested when I was younger. I was more interested in supernatural horror, whereas like American Psycho seemed very real, kind of like Center, right? I would really fight my interest. Not that I wouldn't watch it,
But you hate corporate America. It's like your perfect film.
nowadays.
It's about
but back then I didn't. That was a different kind of person. Let me
Guys,
tell you, as
oh.
an 8-year-old kid watching horror movies and my parents, in my room living with my parents, I didn't think corporate America. I thought, oh, a spooky ghost. The scariest movie for me was Boogeyman. It really wasn't like very honest.
Wait, Boogeyman? What the hell is
Yeah.
that?
It's a horror movie about the Boogeyman. Pretty self-explanatory, I think.
I think, yeah. it's like
I'm confused.
very similar to
What is a
Candyman.
boogeyman?
Yeah,
I honestly,
the Boogeyman is supposed to be. It was I don't know, when you were a kid, a pop culture thing that different kids would say that you had a monster living in your closet was the Boogeyman. Are you googling Boogeyman right now?
no, I'm asking chat what their favorite slashers are.
Oh, sorry.
I know I've actually never seen that movie. I have
Oh,
no
no. It's
idea.
honestly not that cheesy. It's pretty much about this kid that the start of the movie. It's this kid. He's pretty much like a kid lying in bed afraid of the dark, right? And he calls his dad, and he thought he heard a noise in the closet. So he gets his dad to go check out the closet, and the dad literally gets pulled through the closet by this boogeyman thing, and he spends his life kind of trying to run from it, but haunted by like the fact, and trying to teach kids to the horrors of the closet. It's so stupid, but at the same time, but it was just, as a kid, for me, it was just more similar because I had a very similar closet to what the movie showed, and it just gave me like
Okay,
that similar mindset.
stop me if you've heard this before. Child, little boy, at night in his room, hears a bump in the closet. Yells for his parents. Dad comes out, looks in the closet, doesn't see anything. all of a sudden something reaches out and rips him through the closet and murders him. Child then, instead of runs then to the bathroom and turns on the light and sleeps in the bathroom with the light on, and then goes around telling people to stay in the light.
Tooth Fairy, yeah.
I didn't say the name of the movie. I just said the plot that you just said. I just regurgitated it for you.
Yeah, you're not wrong, dude. I don't disagree at all. That it wasn't a good movie by any standards. It was just for me. It was very similar, so it added that like possibility in that mind of association, right? But like, it was, if anyone's seen, you haven't seen Boogeyman, but anyone who's seen Boogeyman, it's about as cheesy as Tooth Fairy.
I mean,
Wait, is that the one with Dwayne the Rock Johnson or the other one?
Cheesy, but
No,
cheesy
definitely
doesn't.
not
horror one. The horror one.
Are you sure?
Like
Dwayne Johnson in a tutu is pretty scary.
And for those who haven't seen Tooth Fairy, it's a horror movie based around the concept of a tooth fairy who comes to you for not
it's
giving up
evil.
the darkness. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's not.
It came out of the early 2000s. There was like a whole period of like early 2000s movies with like, let's take children's movies with a twist. It was
with the horror twist. Yeah,
it's like M. Night Shyamalan. Just
that's how the Boogeyman came about, probably too, because it was just more of a. It's just like a weird pop culture. You know, kids watch out for the Boogeyman. And it's just some weird thing in your closet, right?
But then, like, Wendigo was a great movie.
Oh yeah,
I don't think I watched that one, but I heard about it.
I guess we might as well talk about supernatural thrillers too, because like a lot of them are slashers. But like Wendigo wasn't very good.
The Babysitter?
No, I mean like The Cave. You want to talk about?
That one sounds familiar. I think it's like just a cave where a bunch of people just get eaten by all these crazy monsters.
Yeah, isn't it the one with the bats?
It's been so long, man. There's been a lot of cave-related movies that are
Sir
horror.
Jeremy, have you seen The Cave?
I know maybe so.
Well, anyone out there who's never seen The Cave, I'd hope at least you've heard of it. It is a group of women, if I'm not mistaken, and they're going spelunking. I'm going to let everyone look up what that means.
Oh, it's that one. Yeah.
Yep.
Like digging for rocks. That's what it means.
Spelunking means
cave diving.
Yeah.
Ruined our anyway.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So they go spelunking.
Interaction.
And they find these. They never really figure out what they are, but they're humanoid-looking things that live down deep in this cave. They're like half mole, half humans, and it is one of the best movies because it's so good. It's so good. I don't really want to ruin it after that point, but yeah. In terms
I feel
of
like more details are needed.
In terms of like
details,
like breaching on supernatural, but still real like good horror, because for all you know, it could just be a kind of human that just evolved in a cave because they're blind, and like it's super good. I'd suggest watching it. It's one of those movies that was a B movie, but because of like the acting and like the actual concept, it really carried that movie, and it's really worth it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a horror movie with really good acting, to be honest. There's a few and far between.
That is very true. Like a well-acted horror movie, even shit ones can carry a movie. Yeah.
If you have an actor that like they're actually convinced about what the thing, because a lot of it's CGI, right? So it's hard to like, it's hard to show fear at something that you're imagining is there, and then somebody has to edit that to be in the same place where you're looking.
Well, that's why. I mean, that's why The Shining is such a good movie. There is no CGI. Exactly, and Stanley Kubrick actually put I forget the actress's name every time, but he actually put her through hell so that she was always in a frantic state. Like he went out of his way,
wonderful,
to ruin that lady's day just so he could get an original.
That sounds like a director. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it sounds like Stanley Kubrick. That guy went above and beyond to make crazy movies, but that's like few and far between. I mean, because you get tons of Stephen King movies, and some of them are absolute crap.
Yeah,
but then like you think of the early Stephen King movies, like Christine, and why can't I think of the name of the fucking car? Or that is Christine.
No, I think is that Christine? It sounds. I know. I think I know what you're talking about. That does sound familiar.
There's the three. There was the four
There's a
big
car
Stephen
something.
King movies in the 70s
Yeah.
and 80s. You had the one about the car, the one about the girl, the one and Cujo, which is the one about the dog,
Cujo,
and
yeah.
It.
Yeah.
But those were. But the thing.
Have you seen the newer Dark Tower?
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Shit.
That was
like it was like
I liked Idris Elba, but that was literally about it.
Oh yeah, no, he acted his heart out. It's just too bad they literally took the character of the gunslinger and like unceremoniously like butchered it and chopped it up and remade it into something that it completely wasn't.
It's on the screen that wasn't. Yeah, it's usually how it goes with movies and books.
But that's why I like Stephen King movies usually because they're pretty accurate to the book.
Yeah.
I mean, except for some parts in it that we will not name for obvious reasons.
It's not there for purposeful reasons. Yeah.
We'll go with that. It's purposeful reasons.
Yeah.
No. That's all we're saying. It's not there for purposeful reasons.
Yep. Hey, don't show no attention to the elephant in the room.
No, it's a giant space turtle.
Yes.
Right.
The space turtles. But
is there more than one space turtle? I thought it was just the one. Technically, I guess there could be more. It is
just the one.
I mean, there are some slasher movies that are really good supernatural movies. I mean, you have Candyman. That was one of my favorite. I still haven't seen the new one. Like, I've wanted to, but I've been scared. I haven't even looked up reviews. I haven't. Usually, I'm the first to look at reviews, but I've just been too scared.
For me, like one of my,
I've heard it's been really good.
Oh, I haven't seen. I was thinking of checking it out. One of my more like favorite kind of horror movies was like this movie called Let Me In. I don't know if anyone's quite seen that one. It's like a vampire movie, but it's one of the few vampire movies that really does it well, where they take the supernatural thriller concept of it, not just playing it up like Underworld or like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and things like that. Like it takes one girl who's a vampire, and she puts her pretty much like around pretty much a school setting, and it's other people learning that this person's like that, and then her trying to keep it under wraps. It's the way and it's presented from a child that's just meeting this person, so it's very interesting, and it's really, the actors that play it do really good. It could be like, I wouldn't say it's like A+ blockbuster, but it's a really great for a vampire movie. The only other good vampire movie I could really compare in general, it's not the same, but is Interview with the Vampire. That was like such a great vampire movie.
All right now with all four of us here, top 3 vampire movies. So we got 2 of yours. You said
Blade.
Okay.
Blade 2.
Okay. Let's move south of the border. Mr. Goblano.
I can't think of vampire movies off the top of my head.
All right, let's move to the Nether. Sir Jeremy, top 3 vampire movies. Because I know my 3. That's not even a question.
I do love Interview.
I'm just sticking with strictly vampires too. Like otherwise, Underworld would want to be on my top. But
give me a second, because I always forget titles.
Yeah, it's hard to like. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Like Caden, it's hard. He doesn't know a lot because there aren't a lot of good vampire movies that really stand out.
I just can't think of any off the top of my head.
I was actually, as much as I hate to say it, I was expecting Grace Goblin to be like Twilight, Breaking Dawn, and Breaking Dawn
Obviously,
Part 2.
Twilight, New Moon,
Eclipse. Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn. I was expecting that.
Top favorites, yeah.
I mean, Blood Red Sky was good.
Okay.
That's not bad, yeah.
As was Dark Shadows.
You mean Out of the Shadows?
I mean, no,
I'm talking Dark Shadows.
That one was okay.
Yeah.
It was more of a comedy supernatural.
I've never seen Dark Shadows.
Oh, really? You should definitely check it out.
I've seen Out of Shadows. That was
it's actually
really
the
good.
same actress I was talking about from Let Me In. Plays in Dark Shadows as well.
And you know what? Hotel Transylvania.
I hate you.
Okay.
Good.
What about
That's what I
just
get paid
vampire
for.
movie.
what about you, Mr. Gentleman in the Ether?
Let's go with Interview for number one. Probably John Carpenter's for number two.
I don't think I've seen that one.
And From Dusk Till Dawn for three.
Oh, solid choice. Yeah, that's a definitely a good
So
one.
my number 3 is Dusk Till Dawn.
That
My
one
number
definitely could have been
my number
route.
2 is, I always fuck up the name. No, I remember it. Night Watch.
I don't think I've seen that.
And my number 1 vampire movie, like without a doubt, is 30 Days of Night.
No, but yeah, it's a good movie. It's very brutal. It's very slashery, more so than thriller.
It's also the most like realistic depiction of what a vampire would be. In
Yeah,
vampires.
100%. A bunch of them like coming to a
Like,
town.
there's no mystical aspect. They're just bloodthirsty things that can barge through houses, and they attack towns in the middle of the Arctic Circle because there's literally 30 days of night to feed.
Yeah, see that would be the difference of like that's what I like.
badass.
There's different types of worldly, like in the Arctic. That so makes sense, right? Because there's literally months of just darkness. Why
And
would
they're
you not?
vampires. They don't feel anything, so they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, fuck it."
Yeah, whereas like in like other societies where it makes sense to kind of have like a
And
root
that movie
structure
is
and
good.
farm, right? But that is like because you just wander around through the Arctic Circle. They could literally go from like they can go around Canada into Russia and just keep doing that cycle over and over again.
Also, one of the few comic book series I actually own every single comic of. I can look at it on my shelf. I own every one of the 30 Days of Night series.
All right, I didn't know it's a comic series.
Such a good comic series. But yeah, that was honestly one of my favorite vampire movies. Favorite telling of vampires. Just
that was definitely a good one.
Brutal destroyers of life. The other one, I think you, Jeremy, I hope that you've seen this movie, but if you've never seen it, it's called Night Watch. It's kind of cheating. So to be quite, it's a Russian movie. The premise is a man and his wife, they have a child, it's a little boy. Wife dies in childbirth. He's raising the little boy, and then one day he gets mugged by, the only thing he can understand it as is like a vampire and a demon, and they take his little boy. And he doesn't care. He's just a hard as nails fucking Russian. So he's like, I'm getting my child back. And it starts like, it seems like he's just going into like the Russian underbelly and like beating up and killing gangsters and like in the most brutal fashion. But as he keeps going deeper down the rabbit hole, he starts to find out that not just do mythical creatures exist, but like there's an actual like, there's a police force that keeps them in check, and he just kind of says fuck all of that and like basically goes Man on Fire. If you've ever seen that movie, he basically goes all Man on Fire through the mystical elements of an underbelly of Russia to find his son. It's really good. It's really good because the end you do not expect.
Does it really hit as a vampire movie though? Because what I'm reading, it doesn't really.
It is like, there are lots of vampires. There are lots of vampires.
You know what? Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer
Just don't watch Daywatch. The second movie is crap, but the first like the second movie tries to try to end the story because Night Watch ends like it ends, but it has a huge cliffhanger that you just kind of push past. But like it's really good. If anyone out there has never seen Night Watch, it is such a good vampire movie. Not really thriller or horror, but you know, who cares? It's about killing mythical creatures. And a man,
is there a unicorn?
Denzel Washington, Man on Fire style.
Or Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter.
I forgot about that movie. I totally forgot. I've risen from the dead, motherfuckers. to kill you
Absolutely. I
again.
remember
I love that movie so much. But I mean, and then there was the Abraham Lincoln movie.
Yeah, I said that one.
I thought you
Yeah, that
said
was
Jesus
weird.
Christ.
No,
That was
I
Jeremy.
always said Jesus Christ. Caden said Abraham before.
Abraham Lincoln.
Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, I thought, well, if we're gonna label old school legends.
Fuck. You know, before I even that movie came out, I read the other book, Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, because I had to read Pride and Prejudice for my English degree, and like Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies was so much better.
Didn't they do a movie of that one too?
What?
Didn't they do a movie of that too?
They did.
Did they actually?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never watched it.
There's no way they could do it justice, because if you'd have to have the only way you find that funny is if you've read Pride and Prejudice, because like one of the male characters in the book is so dull and he's just so stereotypical British, and in Zombies they make him a zombie on a leash and he just goes ugh, and it's so funny because he's such a dead character and they just kill him at the big like sorry, it's one of those things that if you had read the book before, you're just like, good play.
Fair enough.
Man, but if you want to go OG slasher, if we're going into my English literary degree, OG slasher that they turned into a shitty movie that I do not suggest go seeing, but if you ever like get to study it, it's great, is the original Beowulf.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about a guy, because like the Beowulf movie makes it more like action, but if you actually read the poem, he basically takes over a kingdom and then gets attacked by three demons that just attack his kingdom and murder hundreds of people and then run away. He has to hunt them down in their lair each time. The first one, he goes down naked to the bottom of a lake and holds his breath for 7 days while he rips off the arm of this thing and beats it to death with its own arm, and then hangs the arm above his throne. And then its mother comes looking for him. And so he goes and again swims down to the bottom of the lake and fights for a month underwater. It's Beowulf is badass, but at the same time, it's a good slasher movie because
That's like the newer ones were more
actiony.
Yeah, well, and I was thinking more as a way to make like kind of make a
shitty
like a
CGI movie.
Well, not just that, but I mean like the way that you're explaining the details of the poem, where like they kind of in the movie they talk about kind of the legends of Beowulf being really exuberant and out there, right? And in the movie they make it so it's very casual, like where he banished this demon when he really just went and slept with them and then came back to his kingdom, right? Like, so it's interesting. I feel like the newer movie they took that somewhat into account, but they made it kind of like as a joke.
He never sleeps with Gwendolyn.
No, not with Grendel, but the other one. There's three demons he has to deal with. He deals with
Grendel's mother, and the dragon.
And the dragon. Yeah, he
But
sleeps with Grendel's mother.
In the movie, yeah.
In the movie, yeah.
But in the poem, he doesn't.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's my point.
Well,
is
it's
that
Angelina Jolie.
They point that out in the movie that there's legends. So he technically, from his people, he did banish this demon for a certain amount of time. But in reality, maybe he spent a month sitting there banging this woman, and then just came back. He's like, "Man, I just defeated this demon. I sat there for a month straight fighting so hard, guys. You don't even know." Like,
it is tales from word of mouth, old Anglican tale,
yeah. Right, and then how could?
But no, I completely understand. He probably just went off and like killed like a bird and said it was a dragon. Right. Look at this huge bird I killed. It was bigger, I swear.
I was gonna say I don't know how the last story goes. Or the last demon shows up, but it probably.
It's a dragon, and he dies killing it.
Yeah, and that's like technically
which happens in the movie. But yeah. I was thinking while you were talking, does Hypercube, like, I know Cube kind of counts as
I'd
more
say that's
suspense.
a slasher movie.
Yeah, right? Does Cube count as a slasher movie? Like, but some of them don't, because some of them are like,
it's like Sara, right?
But
Sara's
on that
kind of like a slasher film
same
too.
token, wouldn't the first Resident Evil?
Yeah, kind of.
would it though?
Kind of.
It would
I mean,
be-
it's not.
The
It has
first
elements
half
to
of
it.
the movie, they're moving pretty silently and chopping shit down. It's not until like they get overrun, like
Yeah. It's for the first little bit it kind of is, and then later on it kind of loses that. It becomes way more.
yeah, like
It becomes Resident Evil. It's like they went full Capcom.
The very simple plot line, which is the very hook of the story, turns into this big umbrella of shit you never expected ever to happen.
Yeah, they went full Capcom. You never go full Capcom.
well, honestly, I think the first one
you
was the
never
best
go
one,
full
and everything
Capcom.
after that.